think we're good to go. So again, thank you everybody for joining us tonight for our first ever and what I hope will be our first annual virtual cruise night with UnCruise Adventures. My name is Laura Depish and I'm the Vice President here at Bursch Travel. And this summer I had the opportunity to spend a week in Southeast Alaska with UnCruise Adventures. And wow, all I can say is it was absolutely incredible. To my friends and family who might be watching this, I am sorry. All you have heard me talk about for the last couple of months is Alaska, Alaska, Alaska. So the good news is tonight, you don't have to hear it from me. We have Julie Quarry with us from UnCruise Adventures. She's their strategic departments lead, sales,
all of it. They do
anything. She's the UnCruise Adventures extraordinaire. So Julie, thank you for joining us tonight. And I'm going to let you take it away.
Thank you so much, Laura. And you're not going to get off that easy. So I'm going to drag you in for a little bit of part of the presentation because you had such an amazing experience. And I mirror that sentiment because I too just got off one of our vessels this summer and what a joy it is. So hello, everybody. Thank you so much. We're going to take you on a journey to Alaska. For bandwidth purposes, I'm going to click off my video, but I'll definitely come in towards the end. And we're going to learn a little bit about this company, UnCruise. Some of you might go, what is an UnCruise? What does all that mean? And why is Laura so excited about it? And she keeps sharing it with everybody she sees. Well, we're going to share that with you tonight. And then we're going to walk through a little bit about what's on board and then share some of Laura's images as well that she just took a few months ago. So UnCruise Adventures is a small boat company. We have been cruising for the last 25 years. We have a total of 9 vessels and by design, all under 90 passengers to ensure that you receive an unmatched hands-on small group exploration. We really cater a lot to the non-cruisers, and I think you're going to get that as we move through the program. Our mission at UnCruise is to provide our guests with an enriching adventure experience and inspire an appreciation for the local culture and natural world. And I think you're going to hear that oozing from both Laura and I as we move through. But this first trip, this first image here is really what Laura has planned for 2022. She loved it so much that she has created a group to join her on July 3rd. And that was actually when I went on, was July 3rd of this year, which is a stunning time to be up there. But before we talk about this cruise, we're going to talk a little bit about UnCruise, just to get you familiar with our style of cruising. So with UnCruise Adventures, really with everything that's going on in the travel world, we feel we are perfectly aligned for guests. In fact, we have 6 vessels up in Southeast Alaska right now sailing. We love to say we've been social distancing since 1996. There is a huge demand for small group travel right now. And because of our vessels are only hold maximum 86 passengers, our smallest is 22 passengers, we have been in very high demand and we feel very, very lucky about that. I mentioned we've been social distancing since 1996. We're not like the big ships. So if anybody that's listening to the program that has been cruising before, you might want to wipe it out of your brain because we're not port centric. You're not going to have 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 people jump on a boat. They're going to be really small groups jumping on a local pier. And once we leave that dock, we explore the backcountry of everywhere we go. And we'll share some of those images tonight with you. Domestic travel is on the rise, right? So we all love to travel abroad, but once COVID hit, we all stuck very close to our house, but now we're starting to get out, not only in our own states, but in neighboring states and throughout the entire United States. I love we're all exploring the United States and everywhere we go. And I really feel more than ever, people have been pent up for the last 17, 19 months, and they really are looking for authentic travel, real places, real people, tangible, just connecting. And when I say we're adventure cruising, we are soft adventure. We handle everybody from the novice all the way to the experienced. And of course, we're all traveling with our friends and family, which is so meaningful. And that's what we get on board UnCruise, those very small groups. And the #1 destination right now for the US is Alaska. So what better way to start the evening with an Alaskan presentation? Now with UnCruise Adventures, wherever we go, there's these three pillars that we are always taking into consideration when we are planning anything. I mentioned the adventure part. I know automatically people start thinking of that physical adventure. Well, and we certainly do have some physical parts to our trips, but it's also that mental adventure, that getting into remote areas, meeting new people, engaging with really authentic things. All of those fit under that adventure bucket. And then also place for UnCruise, because we are UnCruise, we love to go to places that aren't mainstream, not popular as far as you're going to see a whole lot of tourists in there. The only way you're going to get into these places is if you personally know Laura and you come on UnCruise. So that's the greatest things about where we explore. We scout out awesome places. And then connection. That's a great part of the adventure travel, connecting not only with locals, connecting with your fellow shipmates on board, connecting with the wildlife, connecting with Mother Nature. All of those components are really key to everything we do. Now, I know I mentioned we're just going to talk about Alaska tonight, but for those of you who are itching to learn where else this really cool company goes to, you can contact Laura to book, because we are not only sailing in Alaska, we're just getting ready to go into the Columbian Snake River, round trip out of Portland, Oregon. Also, our Seattle 7-night, 8-day cruise up in the Pacific Northwest. We also, starting in November and running all the way through May 7th, are our Hawaiian Islands. We have a little 36-passenger vessel. Laura would fly you over to the Hawaiian Islands, and then you would explore 3 islands in 7 days aboard our Safari Explorer. The only exception to my little domestic chart right here is the Galapagos. We did start sailing the Galapagos on April 30th, and we'll continue to do that run. All that other beautiful Latin America you see there, the Belize, Guatemala, Colombia, Costa Rica, Panama, and Sea of Cortez, we're going to reintroduce those in 2022. So, but all of these, that's the great part about booking with the travel professional, is they know all these little hidden wonderful companies to fit you into that perfect trip. Now, I don't expect any of you to read this, but the reason I brought this out, Laura and I are going to share one specific itinerary with you tonight, but we have 6 itineraries in total, all throughout not only 21, but all throughout 2022. So they all encompass the Inside Passage. And the cool part about UnCruise Adventures, because we're small boat cruising, Laura would fly you up to Alaska to catch our vessels. They stay in Southeast Alaska through the entire season. So it's 7 nights, 8 days in Alaskan waters. No time wasted trying to get up to Alaska or coming back to Alaska like on the big ships. We give you 7 nights, 8 days in beautiful Alaska. So if you're interested in any of these other itineraries, please let Laura know. She's clearly an expert, and she's going to share some of that beautiful expertise with you. So let's talk about these massive glaciers, the temperate rainforest, the wildlife-rich fjords, and of course, the spectacular fjords. Now, this particular itinerary that Laura has a group on for 2022, would love for all of you to join her, is going to be on July 3rd. It's a 7-night, 8-day cruise in 2022, and it's going to be aboard the Wilderness Discoverer. And we're going to take a quick sneak peek into the Wilderness Discoverer a little later in the program. But remember, I said we start and finish in a port, but then we go into the backcountry and explore. This is a perfect example of that. This is beautiful Lampoon Glacier, which we're going to talk about tonight because this itinerary goes there. But Laura and I were just talking about how amazing it is in front of this glacier. We get to kayak. There's 3 activities that we introduce to our guests: kayaking, a shore walk, or a little hike up the actual glacier itself along the walkway there, along the ridge. They're all fantastic, and I don't know how you decide. I've been up here twice, so I've done 2 different things. I can't wait to go a 3rd time because I really want to do the shore walk. But this is exactly what we do, the backcountry, that authentic type of travel, getting into Mother Nature. And if you could think of us like a floating sea lodge, where you get on this beautiful lodge and you've got awesome foods, comfortable amenities, all your toys with us, you go to sleep at night, and then magically the vessel moves to another amazing area. This particular idea or itinerary is one of my favorites. It's Glacier Bay National Park Adventure Cruise. It's a 7-night, 8-day cruise. And you can see with the map, it's round trip from Juneau, Alaska. So you'd fly right up to Juneau, and then you would leave for your 7-night, 8-day exploring all these areas. And we're going to get into some photos here, but a few things I think would be worthy of pointing out is this. I have my pointer just circling on the map to the right here. And this big area here, this is Glacier Bay National Park. This itinerary has 2 full days up in Glacier Bay, which is really unheard of with any other cruise line. So it's a beautiful way to get up into Glacier Bay National Park, especially if national parks are part of your bucket list. But we not only cruise up there, but we nature walk. We get out on our Zodiacs, we get out in our kayaks, we get out in nature and just really explore this area. The other cool part about this itinerary that I think is we make a complete circumference around Admiralty Island, which has the highest concentration of brown bear in the world. And so the opportunity to see wildlife from the decks of the vessel is what it's all about. In fact, that's the number one thing. Nature dictates our schedule. Now, here's just a quick at a glance view of the highlights of this itinerary. Mother Nature really dictates what we do on this itinerary, depending on the wildlife, the wind, the wave, all of those things. But we do spend 2 days in Glacier Bay National Park, as I mentioned, just seeing those beautiful tidewater glaciers. And if you've never heard of a tidewater glacier, you just saw one when you saw our vessel in the front of that glacier. It simply means where the glacier meets the water line. So great opportunity with Twin Sawyers, Marjorie, Grand Pacific. And then we get into Tracy Arm, Tongass National Rainforest. We'll learn a little bit about bushwhacking. What is bushwhacking? Well, it's part of our nature walks. And we've got some images of Laura bushwhacking and hiking in the beautiful old growth forest. Remember I said wildlife dictates our schedule? Well, the sea whales, not only orca, but those great humpback is pretty awesome, including bears, sea lions, seals, porpoises, eagles, oh my, all sorts of great thing. And of course, our wonderful fowly friends, the puffins, oyster catchers, the cormorants, and the kittiwake. So much to see on this itinerary. Now, once we leave that dock, everything is included with our activities. They're planned and managed on a daily basis with our expedition leaders. So they'll say, we're going to be in Frederick Sound today. And in the morning, we'll have 3 activities. We'll all come back from an awesome lunch, and then we'll go back out for 3 activities. And then they'll come to each one of you and take your adventure order. And that's where you can customize your day to do exactly what you want to do. So for instance, we've got kayaking, but look at this top left image here. This is our silver bullet when it comes to all of our adventure. We have this kayak launch pad, which I'll talk about in the next slide. So that's going to play a big importance to everything that we do. We also have these great small inflatable boats, that top middle image. Look at the entire vessel. Every guest on this vessel is sitting right on the bow in front of that waterfall. We've got great snorkeling, and Laura's going to share firsthand about her experience in snorkeling, and then just getting back to nature. So once you decide what you'd like to do, the expedition leaders magically disappear, come back with a beautiful schedule for all of us to enjoy all of these activities the next day. We understand that not everybody every individual has different activity levels. So we make sure we have something, again, for the novice all the way to the experience. Here's a sneak peek of that awesome kayak launch pad. Now, this makes our expedition cruising just brilliant, because not only does it make it super easy to get in and out of the kayaks, it operationally, we can kayak from anywhere. We don't have to bring the kayaks to shore. So once the vessel is at anchor, we drop that kayak launch pad down, and that's where we do all of our shore activities. If you've never kayaked, or perhaps it's been a long time since you've kayaked, no problem at all, because we always have a kayak 101 course on every trip. We want to make sure everybody is comfortable. So once we get everybody ready, we adjust your seat, we adjust your foot pedal, we gently push you out into the water. And then the last person that will be in the water in the group would be our expedition leader. And all of our activities, again, are led by our expedition leader. So a beautiful light paddle throughout. And Laura, I'm going to have you jump on in this next slide here. These are some of the images that Laura has taken of the Wilderness Discoverer on her kayaking.
Yeah, and it was incredible. To your point, the loading dock is everything. It makes it so easy to get in and out. And let me tell you, after kayaking for, an hour or two, and it's not like you're doing hard kayaking and you're sweating, but somehow your legs are still exhausted. And so to be able to have them pull you up on that dock and just sort of fall out very ungracefully to the side, it's incredibly helpful. I loved kayaking. I think I chose it every day.
Yeah.
Because it was a great way to still be on the water, to see some incredible wildlife. We had some sea lions that got probably a little too close for comfort. They scared the heck out of us. They just popped out of the water right next to our kayak. And we saw some whales and tons of birds. It was really a nice, quiet way to do that. In this picture, you'll see me. I'm kayaking with a woman named Stephanie. Stephanie and I met on the cruise. I was a solo traveler. And what's really great that it's such a small group of people that you get to know everybody really quickly. So you make new friends and they set you up with different people. And it was a really fun way to experience Alaska with some new people.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Camaraderie is instant on board the vessel because everyone's certainly like-minded. And oftentimes, I mean, the first day out, I feel like couples kind of, if you come with somebody else, they kind of go together. And then the next day, like one partner is kayaking, the other one's like, okay, I'll see you at lunch because I'm going to go on that bushwhack. And then everybody kind of just does their own thing. And I'll tell you what another good thing is after kayaking warrants a lovely new Alaskan amber. Icy cold Alaskan amber is always key.
Yes, the open bar is lovely.
Yes, it sure is. And if you want to go to Alaska, if this is on your bucket list to see wildlife, well, I keep saying it dictates our schedule, right? So every one of these images I have taken